Say your kids, like most kids, decide they want a puppy. Well, you can go to a pet store, but as we showed you last night, some of the puppies in those stores come from so-called puppy mills, commercial dog breeding farms. And some of those farms keep their dogs in what animal experts say are often horrible, filthy conditions.
The experts say instead you should consider buying your puppy from a private breeder, someone who breeds puppies but on a much smaller scale. Still, as Fox News found out, that is no guarantee your puppy will come from a safe, clean, caring home. Our Mark Saxonmeyer again goes undercover to investigate in part 2 of his report, A Doggone Shame.
They are neglected and mistreated, cramped in cages, cowering in their own excrement. They are forced to breed until they are no longer able, then are cast aside. That's what animal rights activists say happens inside puppy mills, mills that sell puppies to many Chicago area pet stores. Our sources say there aren't any of these massive commercial breeders here in Illinois, but you will find private, small-time breeders here, like Loretta O'Rourke. She doesn't sell to pet stores, but she will sell to you. O'Rourke advertises in the newspaper. She's been breeding dogs, she says, for nearly a quarter of a century. She charges around $300 for a purebred puppy, cash only. State records indicate she has kept and bred hundreds of dogs at a time inside her home. Sources tell us she sells about 7 pups a week, nearly 400 a year. That would put O'Rourke's yearly gross income from dog breeding at well beyond $100,000. Big business, although some question how she runs that business.
In all the time I have been investigating, I had never seen little dogs in this horrible kind of condition.
They appear similarly to what a concentration camp victim would look like. I think that's the dog equivalent.
These two women are among half a dozen humane investigators, veterinarians, and customers that Fox News has interviewed. All of them told us they believe Loretta O'Rourke is abusing her animals. And we've obtained complaints filed with the State Department of Agriculture that support those allegations. In documents dating back to 1986, O'Rourke is repeatedly accused of inhumane treatment.
I have seen dogs that have come out of there that were caked in feces. The feet are swollen from being caged improperly. The smell was horrendous. It would make you sick. You could tell they'd never been let out.
It's a very depressing sight, seeing something so pathetic, so dirty, so smelly, unable to really help itself.
O'Rourke's breeding practices have also come under fire. High-standard, legitimate breeders are registered with the prestigious American Kennel Club. Yet in 1992, O'Rourke's AKC privileges were suspended for 10 years for refusing an inspection of her records and practices. Fox News decided we should check out Loretta O'Rourke for ourselves.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Using a hidden camera, a Fox producer and I went undercover to O'Rourke's Joliet home to buy one of her puppies. She told us her name was Mrs. Kinney, took us into her garage and fetched several dogs of various breeds from her home, poodles, schnauzers, and bichons among them. We asked to see inside her house where the dogs are kept and bred, but she refused. The puppy we wanted was still too young to buy, but Mrs. Kinney told us if we waited a week, she'd sell us a purebred bichon, complete with AKC registration.
Hi there. Hi. Mrs. Kinney here?
So the next Saturday, we were back. We bought our bichon, but only after convincing a reluctant Mrs. Kinney to show us the pup's mother. She brought down this scrawny, frightened dog that was practically hairless in spots. O'Rourke said the condition was a common result of giving birth. Then, after tucking our new purchase in the car, we decided to confront Mrs. Kinney.
Mrs. Kinney, I have to be honest with you. We're with Fox News. I'm a reporter, and we were hoping we could talk with you because we're going to buy the puppy, but we understand that your actual name is Loretta O'Rourke.
Yeah.
And that your AKC privileges have been revoked.
Well, if you notice on your thing, my husband is the one that is selling the dog.
The name on the receipt O'Rourke gave me was Jay Kinney, or John Kinney, this man. O'Rourke identified him as her boyfriend to the State Agriculture Department during an inspection. We checked with the AKC and were told John Kinney is under investigation for violating the same AKC regulations as Loretta O'Rourke.
Well, this is according Can I have that?
No.
Mrs. Kenny, can I have that paper, please?
No, you can't have nothing.
Okay.
O'Rourke then grabbed her sale transaction paper out of my hands and stormed past our
We understand
photographer.
that, according to several investigators, Mrs.
I would like the dog back.
Well, we're going to take the dog to a vet to see how it is right now.
We took the puppy to a clinic in Joliet for a complete physical examination. The doctor's first finding,
Age-wise, I think we're safe to say that she's between 4 or 5 weeks.
not 8 weeks like O'Rourke assured us. And selling a puppy younger than 8 weeks old is a violation of the State Animal Welfare Act. The doctor also said the dog's yellow-stained coat appeared to be a result of lying for lengthy periods in its own urine.
It's okay, buddy.
Despite these problems, overall, the doctor said our Bichon appeared to be generally healthy. But what about its mother? Remember how O'Rourke said the dog's hair loss was a result of giving birth? Other Bichon owners tell us it's more likely a sign of overbreeding and malnutrition. And what about the rest of O'Rourke's dogs? Fox News also learned that just a week after our puppy purchase, O'Rourke unloaded these Bichons at a Chicago area animal shelter. The veterinarian who examined them found the animals had rotting teeth, were covered in parasites, swollen with ear mites, and infested with worms.
Something's very obviously wrong because these animals are not being treated humane.
No doubt at all.
Yet the State Department of Agriculture continues to renew O'Rourke's kennel license year after year.
It's been my knowledge that so far she's been able to comply with the changes and requests that have been made.
Yet the state admits the law requires breeders to meet only minimum standards. Very few ever lose their licenses, and Loretta O'Rourke will probably continue to operate.
We take humane care of animals. We don't take that lightly because they can't fend for themselves, and someone has to be there to offer that protection for them. I appreciate knowing about this situation that I will look into.
Not all private breeders keep dogs in the same conditions that we saw. But humane investigators say there are many other Illinois breeders who are running equally questionable operations. If you do decide to buy a puppy from a private breeder, animal welfare experts say make sure the breeder lets you see where the animal lives and where it was bred. Make sure you see the dog's parents and that you're supplied with a veterinary report. Now, as for Loretta O'Rourke, we called her again after our confrontation and asked her again if she'd like to talk with us about her business. Walter and Robin, she refused again.
Not surprised that she refused. Did you find some, you said not all private breeders keep their dogs in this condition, which really looked quite foul. Did you find some really good puppy
We did
breeders?
talk with several private breeders, and what good private breeders will tell you is that there is no money to be made in private breeding if you're doing it right, because the amount of money they have to spend to keep the dogs to a safe age, the amount of money they have to spend to keep the dogs healthy, keep them well fed, is not going to net them a great profit when they do sell those dogs.
What happened to the little puppy you bought?
Well, it's a good question. We are glad to say that we gave that dog to a Bichon Rescue Club in Milwaukee, and they have promised to find it a very good home.
No end in sight to what appeared to be pretty rampant abuses in this industry?
Well, I think the bottom line here, according to animal welfare experts, is that both the state and the federal departments of agriculture are enforcing guidelines that are either not strict enough and perhaps need to be changed to become more strict.
Okay, thank you. I think, Mark, it was kind of a depressing report, actually.
Sorry to say it was.
Yeah.